must expand, and it will expand. But in order to expand properly, that is to say, in a way that ensures that the expansion doesn't give enemies, creepers, endermen, etc., easy access into the city of Industriville, a wall is required. Now, I've had a design for a wall that's served me well the last couple of stages, but I felt that something a bit sturdier would be required going forward. So to that end, I am building a proper 2-block thick cobblestone wall. It's going to be pretty high across its entire length. There will be a handful of decorative towers. And yes, the southernmost section here of the Great Western Wall of Industriville, I actually built as a retaining wall for the hill, because we're not incorporating this hill into Industriville at this time. But I don't want mobs using it as a way to get in to Industriville. And the retaining wall will handle that just nicely. Now, I did have to do a bit of digging to ensure that I had a solid stone foundation. But now it's time to build up the walls themselves. And they're being built several blocks high. And I'm going too thick for the base section. And then at the top, the walkway at the top of the wall is directly on top of the base. And then there's a flare out 1 block each direction that allows for the walls that will basically prevent people from falling off the city walls. It was, suffice it to say, not the fastest approach. And in the southeastern section of the wall, I felt that a stairway would be appropriate as far as ensuring access to the top of the wall. Of course, I did have to build out the foundation a couple of times to ensure that the staircase actually went all the way to the top of the wall. But with the stairway finished, I could then continue with the rest of the wall and complete the southeastern section. Of course, it's not all one level. There are occasional climbs up and down to follow the terrain to prevent the wall from being, on the one hand, too low, and on the other hand, too high. But of course, the southeastern section was one of the easier sections to build, and we're now in the much more difficult eastern section of the wall, which I'm basically building into the side of the hill that basically forms Upper Industriville. And in case you're wondering, there will be a decorative tower at one end of this sector. The shape of this is a little bit unusual, but again, I wanted to follow the edge of the cliff where I could, as opposed to trying to encompass the entire hill, because that would have put me dangerously close to my forestry outpost. But at any rate, now that I've got the walls up where I want them, it's time to build up the pathway at the top. Make sure I get a suitable location for the wall itself and for the walkway and the edge walls, which, in addition to preventing people from falling off the walls, also will provide a measure of security against skeletons from below. But at any rate, on the southern part of this sector, I'm building up a small area, and you can also see the base for a tower. But of course the wall makes its way into the cliff. We've got the wall pretty much built except for two decorative towers. There's one at the southern end of this sector and the northern end of the sector. And with the southeastern portion of the wall sorted out, it's time to move to the northwestern sector. And this is some blocks in from the dam. I opted to build up the wall next to the dam itself, and then go up to the top and focus there, as opposed to trying to build one continuous wall all the way to the dam. I didn't think it would work all that well, especially given just how high the wall next to the dam is already, and how much higher it would have to go just to be even with the rest of the sector of the wall. There is also a substantial dip in this section of the wall. That does mean that the wall is very high in that center section, but a bit lower, a bit shorter, closer to the edges. And with most of the northern and northwestern sectors completed, it's time to build the one functional tower on this wall. It's on the northern wall near the northeastern corner. And incidentally, the reason I elected to build this here is because thanks to an odd quirk of the terrain, this wall would have basically had a little bit of jut out for about 2-3 blocks and then back in. Tower was the perfect way to conceal that. And with the tower complete, it's time to build the last component of the Great Industriville Wall, the gatehouse. The process begins by replacing the shaped dirt path that had previously run through this area with brownstone roads. I needed to flatten it a bit into the wall, and the brownstone roads really required a 1-2 slope as opposed to the 1-1 slope that I could do with the packed dirt. But the brownstone road does allow me to run a little bit faster, and it also allows me to better define the road in and out of Industriville. And with the road sorted out, I can build up a little bit of the edging on the front before lining the sides of the road with concrete walls. The main advantage to using the concrete walls is to ensure that the road is well defined. It also gives me room for a bit of a railing that will prevent people from falling into the road from above. And once the concrete walls are sorted out, I extended the road off to the side of the path down to the gate, and this road will lead onto the top of the wall, which will allow me to actually use the walls of Industriville, or at least this part of the walls of Industriville, as part of the Industriville road network. With the access sorted out, I've opted to build a concrete and cobblestone roofed gatehouse to complete the Great Wall of Industriville. Well, the wall, at least the northern and eastern walls, are pretty much complete except for one minor technical matter that needs to be sorted out. But let's go ahead and make the components needed to sort that out. I'm going to start off with the tripwire hooks, 2 of them, and 1 button. And I'll explain what my plans are for these once I'm actually ready to start the construction. Let's go ahead and make 6 bows. And I can combine a bow with redstone and cobblestone. Gives me a dispenser. That's 2, 3, 4, and 6 of the dispensers. I can combine the dispensers with 2 aluminum brass ingots, 4 bronze ingots, a redstone, and a blank cast to get the drawbridge. I've got the drawbridges, and let me explain briefly how they work. I'm going to go ahead and plant one here. I'm going to put cobblestone inside, and then I'm going to put the button on the side here like so. When I press the button, it pushes out the cobblestone, and when the button relaxes, it takes the cobblestone back. That's your basic dispenser functionality. And I am going to be taking advantage of that. In the process of finishing up the wall. Next up, I've gone ahead and crafted this red alloy ingot. And there's a few ways to make the red alloy ingots. The method I opted for was to make this molten conductive red metal. And I specifically elected to use this recipe, which is 1 redstone with 2 aluminum ore to make 1 ingot. Expensive in terms of aluminum ore, or it would be if I was actually concerned about how much aluminum ore I had. But really, I can afford to spend the aluminum ore more than I could afford to spend anything else, and especially more than I could afford to spend the redstone. So, I've got these red alloy ingots, and now I'm going to go ahead and turn them all into red alloy wires. Now, let me think. I did craft these stone covers earlier, and I'm actually going to go ahead and take this saw. There we go. And turn a few of them into strips. Actually, let me turn a few more into strips. There we go. Alright. So I've got that. Now, I need a couple of additional items here. And I had to make these circuit plates, which can be obtained by smelting stone. So what I'm going to do first off is craft what's called a repeater. So I need to start off with 2 of these cathodes, which means 2 sticks to redstone torches. And there we go. There's our cathodes. And we also need some anodes. Let's go ahead and craft some of those. Let me actually go ahead and craft another trio of the anodes. Now I need to craft these a few of these conductive plates. And now putting them in the crafting table like so lets me make a repeater. The next thing I'm going to need is what's called an RS latch. There we go. That requires 2 more cathodes. So let's go ahead and craft up 2 more torches and turn them into cathodes. And do I have the resources? Yes, I do. I can make the RS latch. Excellent. And now, I'm pretty sure I'll need this NOT gate. So that's 3 more cathodes, 1 anode and conductive plate. So I made exactly enough conductive plates. I don't actually have enough sticks at this point. Let's fix that. So, more torches, more cathodes, and 1 NOT gate. And finally, I'm going to go ahead and grab some string here. And now it's time to make our way over to the project site, which is going to be the East Gate. And yes, I did go through the farm fields. I did build a road around the farm fields, but when I'm going this way, I find it not so convenient to use. Alright. At any rate, I'm going to go ahead and clear out some space here. And I'm going to actually start by putting the drawbridges here face up. How many? 3, 4, 5 I can go? And yeah, let's just go 5. So I'm going to go ahead and put 5 cobblestone in each of these. Here we go. 5 in there. And 5 in there. Now, so, let me think here. So the button is going to go, and actually, come to think of it, the other thing I can do, but I think I'll only do it with these middle 2 for the time being, I can put the brownstone road in that left slot, and that makes the drawbridge resemble the brownstone road, though it does not give it any of the properties of brownstone road. So what I'm actually going to do is, I'm actually going to go ahead and focus over here. Let's see. Let me put a cobblestone there. I'm going to put that concrete back up there. And then I'm going to put a tripwire here and a concrete here. Except now I need to do that. Ooh, this could be troublesome. Yeah. Well, okay, I may need to grab another piece of concrete or 2. But I think I might be okay. Alright. Now, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and dig this out like so, towards the wall. Alright. And let me actually go ahead and put that cobblestone back up. And then I can start placing the red alloy wire. Up to this point anyway. And I'm actually going to go ahead and dig myself a little bit better way out. Yeah, like so. Because the other thing I can do is put the concrete there. And I can put the second and final tripwire hook there. And then I can put some string like so. Yeah. So there you have it. Excellent. And now that is triggered. So I just have to be careful not to let random items drop in that vicinity, but I don't expect that to be too big a problem. Now I need to go down a little bit deeper, I believe. Let me think here. Alright, so there's one. Okay, there we go. So here are my destination pieces. Here are the drawbridges. So I'll go ahead and put the red alloy wire on the drawbridges. And then in order to avoid a loop, I'm actually going to go ahead and put down a couple of stone strips there and there. That will ensure that on the one hand, I do get full coverage. And on the other hand, I don't have to worry about any sort of looping, because that could give me fits later on. Alright. So, let me think here. So what I need to do at this point is probably go ahead and actually turn that like so. Part of me is probably wishing I brought a screwdriver. Yeah. Alright. Actually, I think I could still fix that, can't I? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I still have the opportunity to fix it. Let's see, I've got the strip here. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that there, just to isolate the output. Alright. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put down the repeater. There we go. Alright, and actually, I think that's what I want, isn't it? Yeah, that's pretty good, actually. Alright. So, and that may actually obviate the need for the NOT gate, now that I think about it. Yeah. So, let's see here. So if I do that, that opens. And when will it close? Why is it not closing? That's really disconcerting. Okay, let's try that. No, that's not quite what I want. Oh, I know what it is. That's what I wanted. Okay. I forgot a step. Okay. Except that... There we go. So let's try that on for size. Alright, yep. Except that closes up way too quickly. But let's fix that part. Hitting it with my bare hand will adjust the delay. Yeah, that should be a reasonable length. There we go. Now we're through, and it closes up behind us, which is okay, I think. Except that it now occurs to me that I don't actually want that on that, do I? I want something something that stands out a bit more. Something like, oh... Is the andesite dark enough? How is that? No, it's not. Andesite is not dark enough. How does it look on limestone? Ooh, that's actually not bad. I think I'll take it. There we go. Make sure I only have the one. And make our way back to the gate yet again. Yeah. The road between Lower and Upper Industriville is not the shortest, but it is at least up to the task. At any rate, let's see here. There we go. So let's go ahead and put the limestone and the button, and then the cobblestone. Oh. Forgot a step. Let's put that on the back like so. And then let's close that up. There we go. And after a few seconds, it closes up. Excellent. Now, before I can call this finished, I need to... Actually, I think... Oh. That is not what I wanted. That is not at all what I wanted. Well, let's see if I can fix that. Not from here I cannot. Oh, I'm actually okay, believe it or not. Alright. And actually, this is probably the easiest way to do this, is just use that tripwire to hold it open. Yeah, there we go. Alright. Well, now I'm going to go ahead and put a torch down here so that this area isn't inordinately dark. There we go. Just light that up like so. There we go. And now, voila! One working gate. There we go. And now to make my way back in. And with that, the Great Industriville Wall is complete.